Greetings, my name is Stan Hustad, and I'm the leader and the co-founder of an organization, a group of men and women now coming together from around the world, which we call the Christian Entrepreneur Network. That's right, the Christian Entrepreneur Network. And what we're seeking to do is find those men and women, literally from around the world, who are the followers of the Lord Jesus Christ, and they want to walk into the world, into the World Wide Web that's out there in the world, and they want to make their mark as Christian entrepreneurs. And we want to help them do that in a way that is powerful and profitable for them, their business, and for the kingdom of God. We want them to become fully alive. Yeah, Jesus said, I'm here to help you become really alive right now and forever. We're going to hopefully seek a good life. A good life. We're going to flourish. We're going to build a great business. Not a big business, but a great business. And we're going to discover what great is and seek to accomplish that. And we want to expand our brand, the good things that we can bring into the world, the ideas that we have. We want to kind of make our mark with greater influence and impact. And we want to do this for the common good of our community, for all, and for the glory of God. And that's what we are about. And we're going to invite you to join us. And one of the ways we're making that invitation is to tell you our story, at least my story, and then what that led us to believe about how we go about doing just that. How we start to live and be and grow as Christian entrepreneurs. Well, here's my story. I got a good start. I had good parents. They did well by me. They weren't rich. We learned all of the traditional values, and we were okay. As someone once said, we were kind of poor, but we really didn't think we were, and really didn't know it. And I graduated from college, and I got a job as a teacher. Kind of surprised me, but it seemingly came to me, and I did that. I married a girl that I had met in college, and I really married up. She's a wonderful woman. And we went on, and as a teacher, I did extremely well. I worked really hard, and that was hard for me because I am extroverted. Oh no. As my extroverted wife will tell you, Stan is one of the shyest persons I ever met at that time. And I'm introverted off the map. Maybe that's why we attracted one another. She was the incredible, joyful extrovert, and I was kind of the shy introvert. And so we put our lives together. We had two wonderful children. We got involved in our church. We'd had some initial difficulties in our life, but life was good. I had a great job as a teacher. My wife had just been promoted to a management and leadership position in a major organization. We had a small business that was doing well and making a difference in the community. Two wonderful children. But surprisingly, through our pastor and mentor, we were challenged in different ways, and all of a sudden it seemed that we had decided to quit both of our great jobs, sell our wonderful little business, and we became missionaries. We became broadcast radio missionaries for an organization called Trans World Radio. And we were first in the Caribbean and Latin America, and then later in Europe. Not only was I involved in making programs for all over the world, I was involved in leadership, and particularly in teaching other men and women who wanted to be broadcast missionaries, pastors and teachers and people in the churches around the world, how they could do great radio programs that would be acceptable and right and good and powerful for their own programs and their own people and their own culture. We did well at that, but things didn't go always well. And after a while, we realized that it wasn't going to work anymore. And so we left. We just had to make a change. And that's what we did. And after a number of years, as I said, over 10 years of that, we returned to the United States. Now, please keep in mind, we had done nothing wrong. I hadn't, embezzled money. I hadn't had an affair with somebody. None of those usual career-wrecking things that we hear so much about. It just wasn't working for us, and we were back in America trying to make it happen. And here's what happened. Well, it was difficult to come back. It was really difficult. Things had changed a lot. And I was having a difficult time trying to find a job. Karen finally found a job. And I remember that night when we were putting the dishes away, and she turns to me afterwards, and all of a sudden I can see the tear in her eye, and she says, "This is exactly what I was hoping for when I married you 20 years ago. I was hoping that after 20 years of marriage we would have no house, no car, no job, no money, broke, and a kid in college. That's exactly what I was hoping for when I married you 20 years ago." And then her sarcasm and tears turned to great sobs. And she left the apartment. Thankfully, she came back. And we started to try and put some things together again. And we eventually did. It wasn't overnight, and it took a lot of work, and it was very hard to do. And we still go through hard times. We still go through difficulties. One of the things you learn right away from Scott Peck's wonderful book called The Road Less Traveled, life is difficult. And he's just reflecting what we're told, you will have troubles. You will. Well, to continue the story, what happened is, I then said, I obviously need to learn some things about success that I didn't learn. I mean, okay, you had a degree in college, you did all this good stuff, you were right, but are there some things you need to know about business and personal success and motivation and leadership and communication? And so I studied it all. I did any job I could. I worked for $5 an hour. Sometimes I had a job, sometimes I just had work, sometimes I just had a project, sometimes I just ran errands and did everything I could. And at the same time, I studied. I must have read 1,000 books or audio programs. I became kind of the student guru of all those great thinkers about life and business and motivation and development. All those people you've heard about, I learned about them. And what I discovered is that was very, very helpful. But not until I learned the true secret. And the true secret of success is the one I'm going to teach you now, that I learned that some 25 years ago came to me as perhaps what we call the diamond. The diamond deal of the Christian entrepreneur. The 4 things, like a diamond, that you really need to know if you want to be successful in life and business. And here's how that began. I call it the diamond deal of Saint Entrepreneur. St. Paul financed his missionary work not as much by donations or offerings as much by the fact that he had a business. He was a businessman. Yes, he was a missionary. Yes, he was a theologian. Yes, he was brilliant. Yes, he was a writer, but he was also a businessman. He had a business, probably a good business. And that's what he was. And so I call it Saint Entrepreneur, and it is the diamond deal. And we use that term deliberately. I remember from the film Shawshank Redemption. I don't have many favorite films, but that's one of them, where a man whose life went to pieces, he's in jail, he's in prison, just like St. Paul was in prison. And he made the best of it. And eventually he escaped and found a way to a better life. But there's a conversation that he has with one of his friends, and he turns away, and the guy says, well, we're looking for the diamond. We're going to be diamonds. But you got to remember, you know what a diamond is? A diamond is simply a piece of coal under incredible pressure for a long, long time. A diamond is a piece of coal under incredible pressure for a long, long time. And then a master craftsman, a master worker comes in and chops it and cuts it and polishes it. And then finally it shines. And so if you want to shine like a diamond, there's some work that has to be done on you and to you and for you and perhaps with you. Just let that sit in your head as we think about the diamond deal. And here was the secret that I learned. After studying all of those wise gurus, I discovered St. Paul in a letter from jail to a group of friends and followers in the city of Philippi. The letter to the Philippians, a short little letter, a leadership memo, I call it. And in those 4 chapters, he outlines the deal powerfully, with great precision and great energy and great truth. And that's what I'd like to share, what I finally learned about true success from that little letter of Saint Entrepreneur. He begins chapter 1 by saying, I give thanks upon every remembrance of you. Wow. What? Has anyone ever said that to you? I give thanks upon every remembrance of you? Have you ever said that to somebody? Have you ever heard it? Ever said, every time I think about you, I'm thankful. Ever said that to a colleague, a client, a customer, anybody? Whenever I think about you, I give thanks. What a wonderful word to hear and what a wonderful word to say. And what St. Paul was said, right off the bat, the key to success is a thankfulness, a thankful and grateful heart. Give thanks with a grateful heart. Give thanks even when you're in jail. Whatever is going on in your life, give thanks. Wow. Boy, is that hard to do. But there it was. And a thankful and grateful heart is seldom a fearful heart, because guess what? One of the key enemies of our spirit will be the spirit of fear. The Bible says hundreds of times, don't be afraid, don't fret, overcome your fears, don't be afraid. A thankful and grateful heart. Be thankful in all you are and all you do. The first key to success is very simple. Be thankful. Give thanks. Start there. Start saying it, start doing it. I remember even challenging a pastor one time. I said, you know what? I hear a lot of sermons from you, and I hear a lot of preaching from you, and I hear a lot of good stuff from you, and I hear a lot of orders from you. But I seldom hear thank you from you. May I challenge you to be thankful and grateful. May I challenge you right now to start using the words thank you and grateful a lot. I challenge you. Chapter 2. Chapter 2, a little theological treatise on the very nature of Jesus. He was on top, and he joined the bottom. That's right. The Christmas story only gets it partly right. Emmanuel, God with us. No, it's more than God with us. It's God becomes one of us. Right there with us. One of us. Just like us. And he did it because we are called to serve as he did. He did it to serve us. Jesus came to save us. He came to serve us. And in serving us, he will save us. He came to serve. And he didn't come just to serve the saved. He came to serve us all. Chapter 2, the key 2 is you are made to serve others. You will never be successful unless you serve others. We are hardwired for service. When Bob Dylan sang out, you gotta serve someone, he got it right. I had a mentor who one time challenged me and said, Stan, you have one entitlement in life and you have one right in life. Remember, I'm entitled to free health care. I have a right to this, a right to that. I have all my rights. I'm entitled to this. And the mentor said to me, Stan, you are entitled to serve others and you have one right, and that is to serve others. That's it. That's the deal. That's the only right. That's the only entitlement you have. Everything else is grace and you have no right to it. So be thankful for it. But you have only one right, and that is to serve others. Einstein said, we are here for others. And that's not relative. We're here for others. We're here to serve others. I was saying this at a little seminar one time, and a young man came up to me afterwards and simply said, well, you know, okay, but I got a business. I got children. I got a lot to do. First person I'm going to serve is myself. I got to serve myself first. I kind of smiled and said, well, I hope you pay well, because you may be the only customer you ever get. Just let that sit around for a while. Chapter 3. Boom, here's the big one. I love 3. Stan, forget what's behind. Forget it. Forget what is behind. All those great achievements, all those failures, all that stuff, the good and the bad, forget it. It's past. It's past. And now look to the future and press toward the mark of God's high calling. What's your call, baby? What are you called to do? You have a high calling, not a low one, not a job, not a career, not work to do. You got a call. What is it? Maybe you ought to figure that out. What's the high calling? So then press toward the mark of the high calling. Press toward the mark. And you know why? Because when you press toward the mark of God's high calling, the pressure is on. The very enemy of your soul and spirit and of civilization itself will move in, and it'll happen. Be ready for it. That's why you have to press toward the mark, the goal. That's the first meaning of mark, the goal. Make your mark, the goal. What is it? Only 3% of the population have goals. They know who they are. They know their purpose in life. They know their call. They know what they're supposed to do, and they're working a plan to achieve that. Only 3% of the population. That's what I discovered. Only 3. 3 out of 100. The rest of us just kind of deal with the day or do nothing at all. We just kind of do it. The world steps aside for the man or woman who knows who they are, what they're called to do, and they do it. Be one of the 3. Make your mark. Mark. Trademark. Yeah. Everybody has a trademark, a unique way. You're unique. What makes you different? What makes you unique? There's only one of you. There's no competition just like you. What's your trademark? Can you know? Can you figure it out? Oftentimes I encourage people to actually go to a designer like my friend Scott and actually design a logo or a trademark for you. Not for your company, not for your corporation, not who you're working for, you. What is your trademark? And then number 3 of the 3 marks is you made a difference. You know, when I make a mark, it's there. You didn't leave a smudge. You didn't leave a blur. You didn't, make a mess. You left a mark for eternity, for the common good, for the glory of God. Something changed forever because you made your mark. Mark, a goal. Mark, a trademark. Mark, something good, something wonderful. There you go. Chapter 4. St. Paul celebrates and said, there's a lot of good stuff out there. Whatsoever is good, whatsoever is beautiful, whatsoever is pure and wonderful. Think about those things. Dwell on those things. Deal with those things. Fill your mind with good stuff. All the time. All you can. Jesus tells us what goes into us will come out of us. What's in your heart is what you become. What's inside has to go public. That's what really means to go public. It has to come out and be public, and it has to be there in life in the marketplace. What is that stuff? And St. Paul says, hey, spend time, prayer, worship, fellowship, reading, teaching, meditating. Do all of the things you can to make sure your mind is getting the good stuff. The old garbage in, garbage out is not a modern slogan. It's just an update of what Jesus and St. Paul told us 2,000 years ago. What you are is what you think about, what you pray about, what you plan about, what's on your heart, mind, and spirit. That's what you are. There you are, ladies and gentlemen. That's the diamond deal. And that's what we embrace at the Christian Entrepreneur Network. Start there. If you want to be a Christian entrepreneur, start saying thank you. Start discovering who you're called to serve. Think about that. I one time was told that many years ago, a college would not let students graduate until the seniors would write their service charter. They had to write out at the age of 22, 23 who they were called to serve. And then they had to give that presentation to their peers and their professors before they could graduate. Wow. Maybe that's one of those old ideas we ought to make new. Chapter 3. Become one of the 3% who truly, like St. Paul, forget what was behind, press toward the mark, God's high calling. These are my goals. By the time I get done, the gospel's going to be in Europe. By the time I get done, it's going to be throughout the Roman Empire. By the time I get done, the very gospel of Jesus Christ will be in the jails of Rome itself. Now, he didn't know how that was going to work out, and he was surprised. But those were goals. His books are full of goals and uniqueness and powerful distinctions that we should have, and how the world will be changed if we do that. And then, there you are. Fill your mind with all that good stuff. Let me tell you that, as a business performance coach of many, many years, if you get those 4 right, the rest are just details. And we'll help you. There are tips and tactics and techniques and lots of other things to actually make it happen. But if you want to know the secret to true success, it's to learn the diamond deal, as St. Paul put forward. I remember one time I was asked after an insurance convention where I spoke a little bit, guy kind of snuck up to me. He kind of sensed maybe there was something about who I was. And so he asked me, do you have something to say about how I could be successful? And I told him this little story. Over dinner, he got up and said to me, Stan Hustad, that's the best word I've ever heard since I heard that Jesus loved me and he was going to save me. Well, I was glad it worked for him. And I don't know where it stands for you, but I would love to be able to help you know more about how this might work. And if you think I've got it all together, think again. It's just some stuff I have and stuff I'm working on. Very imperfectly. Oh, how imperfectly, you don't know. But Jesus does, and he loves me anyhow. I'm still one of his chosen. If I can be of any help to you, please let me know. We would appreciate TCENglobal.org is where we hang out. TCENglobal.org/contribute. I'll challenge you. That's a way to say thank you if this has been helpful. We can use your help to make this thing happen, to make it go. TCENglobal.org/contribute. I'm grateful for your help and support. Reach out to me, stanhusted@gmail.com, stanhusted@gmail.com. We've got lots more to do and go, but now you know the first step in how to be a Christian entrepreneur. All the best and blessings. God bless us all, everyone. Bye for now.